Once I knew the real story behind this van, I was like, whoa, I need to find everything I can. Now it's just like, this was meant to be. There's no question that I was supposed to end up with this van. This is actually called a Volkswagen Kombi van, and the Kombi vans were primarily in Europe used for deliveries. And this is an unusual van because it's a double barn door van. Both these two doors open up, but there's a second set on the other side of the car, and that is extremely rare. I'm flipping through, looking for cars, and I come across this van. I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And so I'm reading the story. The only story that's being told by this gentleman is this van was sued by the US government. And this is the title of the case. Well, this is interesting, but I still don't get the full story. The original owner of this bus was Thomas Michael Post. His grandfather was a brother of C.W. Post. Thomas decided to come to Washington, D.C. because of the Kennedy family, and he was excited. He wanted to become part of what was happening in Washington. And he drove it across the country, and he decided that he would stop at the national parks that were on his way to Washington, D.C. He started as a janitor, and as he emptied the trash, he kind of opened up the pieces of paper that were either tossed or crumbled and tossed, and he saw signatures, including signatures by President Kennedy, signatures by his brother. Thomas thought, these signatures and these documents, these have value, and not monetary value, but historical value. He became the self-appointed independent library. This van was the Library of Congress. Thomas had his van parked at a store in Washington, D.C. A woman saw the van and left Thomas a note. And when Thomas got into the car, he saw the note and he called the woman. And she said, can I hire you to transport my clients to and from a hotel to an event? Thomas went to the hotel and he waited outside, and there was a group of people out there, and there was a limo, and he didn't think anything of it. And Thomas is just kind of sitting there, you know, in the driver's seat. And then he saw some other group of people coming out of the hotel with umbrellas over them, and the van door opens up, and the four guys came in, said hello, asked for drinks, and it was the Beatles. Thomas drove them to the very first concert, which was in Washington, D.C. at some type of ice rink. That means that the Beatles sat on these seats. Karmic energy is in this van. And that's how Thomas met the Beatles and became a friend of George Harrison's. Quite a few years later, he received notification from George Harrison saying, hey, I'm doing a concert for the benefit of Bangladesh. I've got some tickets for you at will call. So Thomas took his van in and left it at a mechanic's in DC and decided to take a bus into New York to go to the concert. It's believed he never made it to the concert. Because no one came back to pick up the van at the mechanics went to prepare to lean it. He then had one of his helpers, you know, take out any personal items. And as the gentleman went through the bus, he opened up these doors. Here's one of them. And what was inside was stacked boxes, and it had all trash from US Congress of any type of communication with signatures like John F. Kennedy, his brother, and whoever else had documents. The mechanic contacted the FBI. They came and took the van, confiscated all the material. Nobody looked for Thomas, and it is probably the only van or only Volkswagen van that's been sued by the United States government. And it is an actual legal case on record. You know, there's more than just a piece of metal here with an engine. And it's the cultural dynamics that occurred with this van. This van opened up that door. To do the research, it's almost like opening up a new envelope every time I find something. Or it's a new color of a balloon that you're just reaching for this other information. Where else is this going to take me?